Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
This station is a national center for efforts to search passengers on trains, something that once upon a time our country considered interstate travel free of government intrusion a right. But they're trying to take that away. They're using a computer link between reservations and the Drug Enforcement Administration to decide who to search, based on whether you bought your ticket with cash. This is illegal. You have a right to refuse. Free I do not consent to a search t-shirts. Do not allow the government agents to search you just because they don't like where you're traveling or that you may have paid cash. You'd like one?
I like what you're doing. Wait a minute.
Yes.
How much are they?
Well, they're free, but I'll take donations.
I'm sorry.
Please put it on. Let the agents, if they come out today, know you support me. I'm calling on the newly appointed Transportation Secretary and Chair of the Amtrak Board, Norman Mineta, to recognize Americans, to recognize the rights of people to be free of searches, and discontinue the program under which this reservation computer has been linked to the Drug Enforcement Administration's reservation or computer. They look through who's boarded and say, oh, that one has an interesting last name, let's look at them. Or, we don't like where this one lives, I bet they're taking some of that marijuana back to Wisconsin. Well, that's not probable cause, but they use it anyway. And this has got to stop, and it stops today. These agents do not have the right to search you. Please wear it proudly.
I will. Keep up the good work.
Wear it now. Put it on a train. Oh, is there any time?
I've seen them not only here in Albuquerque, but almost every place in the country. Stop the train, drug enforcement officers
It's
come
more
in.
here than anywhere else, actually.
Oh, no, there isn't. Heck, I've gone up and down the line, and it's everywhere.
Without that,
You know, until they
American is lost. Without that, the forefathers, what they fought for, is lost.
Probable cause, fair and square.
Thank you very much.
Just say no to illegal government searches aboard the train. They have no legal authority to go through your bag.
What they did to this bag, they went through everything in here. Then they searched. They ripped open the present for my girlfriend and searched it for no reason. Came up to me, and I was the only person they came up to out here. And I have no idea why. Went away, came back, asked me to empty my pockets again, did a search everywhere. They thought I was hiding some sort of ticket for other baggage, which I told them not. They pretty much called me a liar.
Just say no to unlawful government intrusion. Inasmuch as Amtrak is a quasi-governmental agency, I believe, makes our reservation information private, not something that the DEA should be able to get without an order from a judge specifying probable cause for the seizure of that information. And I call on Secretary Mineta to right this wrong and end Amtrak's unlawfully delivering information to the Drug Enforcement Administration about their patrons.
Oh, they busted his package open.
They busted his package open, not because it smelled, but because somebody
Got a
had a
package
package,
down there.
and they were
Got no
trying to
ticket
tie
for it.
him to the package because he was black.
That's bogus.
Yep.
That's real bogus. That's racial.
If you refuse, then that gives them a cause to search.
No, refusing is not probable cause. Probable cause means specific evidence that there is drugs in your package. not just that they don't like your attitude.
So they bring dogs.
They thought I was lying. Where's your claim ticket? Where's your claim ticket for all your extra bags? Where's your other bags at? I ain't got no other bags. No, I think you got other bags. Where they at? Let me empty your pockets again. Let me see your claim ticket.
Just say
Walked
no
in the
to
train,
illegal searches.
came back out. Come on, man. Let me just see that claim ticket.
That's bogus. They bogus, bro.
Like, you're not gonna find it because I don't have it. How you gonna find something?
They didn't have
I don't
tents, Joe. Is they still in the train?
They're in the train. Are they searching people's bags or what? Why do they make you get off and they go in there and do whatever they want?
Yeah, I'm just talking. Hold up. I'm glad you just said that.
You might be looking for your bag right now.
On a broader level, I want to let the American people know that they have a right to refuse searches, but only if you use it. I do not consent to a search of my person, premises, baggage, etc. Just say no to illegal searches! Say no to illegal searches! The government does not have a right to go through your bag.
When we got nowhere to go, we can light a fire under the sun. We can blast the radio when we got nowhere to go. We can put the car in cruise control. Ooh, yeah, yeah, whoa. We can blast the radio when we got nowhere to go. Girl, I come a long, long way for you. And you can make the plan, tell me what you wanna do. And I'm the favorite one, you're the one I'll be singing to. Cause girl, I come a long, long way for you. When the time comes, be on the run all the time. I gotta move on to the next one. The minute we'll be back, I don't know. In the meantime, I'll be doing fine. Realize it's really all to say goodbye. And even use the hardest part out the road. We can spend the night under the moon. Forget about the real life and enjoy the view. I get lost in time when I lie down next to you. We can rock the whole night away, nothing I would rather do. I realize normally we would take it slow. Without a destination, just spin the globe. We can get high, baby girl, if you're feeling low. And I can promise you tonight, you're the only girl I know. When the time comes, I'll be on the run, and all the time I gotta move on to the next one. And when we'll be back, I don't know. In the meantime, I'll be doing more legal life. Really ought to say goodbye. Living just the hardest part of the road. We can light a fire under the sun. We can blast the stereo when we got nowhere to go. We can put the car in cruise control. Ooh, yeah, yeah, whoa. We can blast the stereo when we got nowhere to go. on me run all the time. I gotta move on to the next one. When we'll be back, I don't know. In the meantime, I'll be doing fine. Realize it's really all to say goodbye. Leaving news for others pop out the road. We could light a fire under the sun. 'Cause girl, I've come a long, long way for you.
A clip from Dr. Sanjay Gupta's documentary, Weed, which airs on CNN this Sunday night. Sanjay spent a year investigating the fight over medical marijuana. More and more Americans are using it. Just a few days ago, Washington, D.C. opened up its first medical marijuana dispensary. And CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, joins me now. Sanjay, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, come on, you've been looking at this for a year, and I want to remind you that in 2009, you wrote a Time magazine article entitled Why I Would Vote No on Pot. You've changed your mind.
I have, and as part of you know, my thinking recently, I've apologized for some of the earlier reporting because I think, you know, we've been terribly and systematically misled in this country for some time, and I did part of that misleading. You know, if you look at all the papers that are written in the United States about marijuana, the vast majority of them are about the harm. That we fund studies on harm, we don't fund studies on benefit nearly as much. So it gives a distorted picture. But you know, I didn't look far enough, I didn't look deep enough, I didn't look at labs in other countries that are doing some incredible research. I didn't listen to the chorus of patients who said, not only does marijuana work for me, it's the only thing that works for me. I took the DEA at their word when they said it's a Schedule I substance and has no medical applications. There was no scientific basis for them to say that.
So when New York Mayor Bloomberg was quoted as saying medical marijuana is the greatest hoax of all time, what do you say to him?
I'm surprised, you know, I mean, I follow a lot of the mayor's comments quite closely. I listened to those comments as well. As part of those same comments, he was saying that the potency of marijuana has gone up. That is true. It has gone up probably over the last several years. But I urge him to look at the scientific papers. I was just looking at them again in preparation for your show. The science is there. This isn't anecdotal. This isn't in the realm of conjecture anymore. I mean, for a long time, we've just ignored these papers. But this was a drug, you know, that was used for thousands of years.
Now, in your documentary, you get into the effects of medical marijuana, which sometimes can be quite instant. It's quite dramatic.
It really can. It works, and it can work very quickly. In fact, let me just show you.
I always have two strains.
Meet 19-year-old Chaz Moore. He uses many different strains of marijuana, many of them high in CBD, to treat his rare disorder of the diaphragm.
My abs will, like, lock up.
That's why he's talking this way, almost speaking in hiccups, like he can't catch his breath. It's called myoclonus diaphragmatic flutter. This fluttering here, it's annoying, but it becomes painful pretty quickly, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, after like 15, 20 minutes, this is where I can like start to really feel it.
He's about to show me how the marijuana works. He's been convulsing now for 7 minutes. How quickly do you expect this to work?
Within like the first 5 minutes. And I'm done. Like,
that's it.
That's it.
It was actually less than a minute.
Depending on the attack in the day.
I mean, that is pretty extraordinary.
He was on so many different meds, Piers. It was a table full of meds that doctors had prescribed for him for this condition, including OxyContin, Valium. Any of those medications in too high a dose could have been really problematic, and they didn't work. I mean, look, you know, the proof is becoming increasingly clear, I think, if you look for it.
Paul, a hot mic here. We sat down today and we just bunked up something on the spot over at like an hour. Here. Okay. Well, anyway, it goes something like this. We're very happy to be here.
Make somebody enjoy it. This is the largest Harvest Fest we've ever had. When you call for the legalization of hemp and the legalization of pot, you are making a political statement that does not conform with the standard wisdom of the time. The criminalization of drugs only enhances the power of some tired old white males in Washington, D.C. who want to continue to control people of color, poor people, women, young people, and people who disagree with the way this nation is being run today. You see, it's all right in the United States to be an alcoholic. That's because George Bush and his cronies are alcoholics. It is all right in this country to consume legal drugs. Drugs that destroy the mind, the spirit, and the body because huge multinational conglomerates produce, manufacture, and distribute these types of drugs.
Getting high about what the pigs are doing, stuff like that. No offense, fellas, but it's just the way it is. Been into some Ohio hippies. They got their ban lifted for 3 seats. Really ridiculous stuff. The punishment should fit the crime. Right now you can pistol whip somebody, you can rob a bank, you can do a lot of things, and you'll do more time messing around on marijuana than you will do like stuff like that. It's not right. I don't know how they can get behind enforcing those kind of laws. The word came down from above, from Big George or Nancy, I don't know who it was. Now to grab people, throwing them in jail, it's all bullshit, all the way along the line. They can't defend themselves as far as I'm concerned.
I think that, that the herb should be legalized because there is, as I say, a big difference between smack, crack, and smoking flowers. And I'm sick and tired of my friends being dragged off or their houses or cars being confiscated for a joint of marijuana when there are 500,000 deaths a year from alcohol and nicotine. I mean, come on, let's get real here. So what I suggest you do is let's legalize it. We could do it if we got together. We could do anything.
You know that I just got the word they got these new initiatives coming out to legalize marijuana in the state of Oregon. I think that's a good thing. I think that all of you should do that. And the reason I think that is because if you don't, you know they're going to legalize it anyway. Do you want the legislature to legalize it for you and make all the rules, or do you want to make the rules yourselves by legalizing it yourselves? See, that's kind of the difference. So, you know, I mean, you can, you know, keep sitting back and waiting, but really there's something that's got to get done. And, you know, we don't want to be, you know, late on the history of this thing. Oregon's right in the middle. You know, California and Oregon are the next states to legalize, I do believe. And it's time for us to do that. So if you look back right across from the main stage here, there's the THC clinic back there. There's a, so what? Where is it?
The CRH right there.
Okay, all right. Right over here is the paperwork on this new initiative stuff. You know, and if you want to register to vote, as I think you ought to, I'm not asking you to vote for president or none of that, but you know, you can control your neighborhood. And the way you do it is that you control your neighborhood through your vote locally. So the initiative process is, that's how we're doing it. That's how it happened in Washington, that's how it happens in Colorado, that's how it's going to happen right here. But really, you know, we got to get involved. You know, and there's a reason for it. There's too many people in prison. There's too many people in jail. You know, because that's what's morally wrong about the whole thing. You know, I'd like to, yeah, maybe I'd like to sit back and make all kind of money selling herb or something. But that isn't the way it works. You know, the way it works is that we got a bunch of people in prison for thinking that way. And it's time for the thing to change. We need to get the bars opened up, let everybody out of there. Because, you know, we do need jail. We need it for criminals. You know, rapists, murderers, thieves, you know, they're out there. That's enough to keep the cops busy right there. See, they don't need to be chasing us. They don't need to be chasing you. So all you youth especially, man, hear my message. You know, step up, register to vote, and change our local rules a little bit by legalizing marijuana in Oregon. You see, there's more than one thing. There's also a constitutional amendment. You see, there's a couple of different things going on right now, and you got to look at that, and you can vote on that. You know, a constitutional amendment that means that nobody's going to go to jail for this anymore, and I think it's an important thing.
Hi, I'm Willie Nelson, and I urge you to support the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act to regulate marijuana and restore industrial hemp. This initiative will end adult marijuana prohibition and let our criminal justice officers focus limited resources on real criminals and not on marijuana users like me. OCTA will also allow farmers to grow hemp for fuel, fiber, and food to create jobs and help our economy. Please support OCTA. Thank you.
Seeding life, and the earth is our mother, and the land is her flesh, and the water is her milk, and the oil is her blood, and we are her children. In this land we come from, of this earth we're made of, with us as future ancestors, given responsibilities to live. We are the future we bring. If we don't take care of the land, how can the land take care of us? Same with sky and air we breathe. Today is time to remember tomorrow, and the reality of we reap what we sow. The reality of land and life is in the seed. Seed has memory of life. Wild seed memory. Keeping alive, up close, face to face with the destroyers and their synthetic seed without memory. Toxic planting poison in earth and minds. Disregarding well-being for maximizing profits. Abandoning the children to massive debt. Making the price of freedom unaffordable. at the expense of the many for the benefit of the few. Like a spreading mad human disease, chaosing minds with liars' promises, seeding old fears with new fears, life in the world of the money man. It's time to think our way out of what we believed our way into. How can we show respect to life if we don't use our common sense? While seed, life seeding life, and the earth is our mother, and the land is her flesh, and the water is her milk, and the oil is her blood, and we are her children.
And then this is the whole reason that marijuana is illegal today, because you can run your car, you can light your lamps, you can make it into jet fuel even with hemp seed oil. The main reason that the people with power and money made up the whole marijuana myth back in the turn of the last century was to enable their capital-intensive petrochemical alternatives to displace fuel and hemp fiber. So right here is hemp fiber. Hemp makes 3 times more fiber than any other plant on the planet. Hemp also makes 3 times more oil than any other plant on the planet. Then right next door we have this bottle of cannabis tablets from the Fraser Pharmaceutical Company. It's extract of cannabis indica. Can you close in on that? Try to close in on our bottle so the label is bigger in those folks' screens. We'll see if camera 2 can do that. I think it can. They're trying. Maybe. Okay. Well, oh, there we go. There, it's starting to work. It's working. Now you can see that this says cannabis indica. It also says poison on it. It's still got some pills in it, these little cannabis pills. And it says that it is from Chapman's Pharmacy in Roseburg, Oregon. So this was sold right here in the Beaver State.
Send the DEA after him and bust down that place.
This is 110 years old.
Well, we still got the evidence.
Expand back out again. Pull out.
That's amazing.
Because I've got this big box to show you. Jack Herer wrote this book that Casper and I had a lot to do with Jack Herer and worked with him. He put together the first edition of his book in my house right here in Portland back in 1985. But this is the latest edition. It's a limited edition of Jack Herer's book. It's Jack in the Box. Jack in a Box. It is a definitive collection, a limited edition. Back out just a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and open it for the first time.
Oh my God!
Right
so cool.
here on TV, taking off the cellophane.
Oh, this rocks.
So we can see the goodies inside. This is
like a birthday gift.
And so Jack has this little pop out. Oh, well,
is
there.
That not the pop?
It pops out.
Woo.
That's cool. Jack Herer, a little pop out thing. And then you see we've got his very first book, which was a coloring book on how to grade cannabis. Then we have the latest edition of Jack's book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. And then under here we have this nifty DVD, The Emperor of Hemp. We've played clips of The Emperor of Hemp many times, but perhaps the coolest thing to me is the pop out. It says, hemp can save the world. Hemp can save the world. And so we've got to thank Michael Kleiman and the folks at Planet K for publishing this and bringing this nifty thing out.
Good time to mention.
I also before I want to jump in, I want to also thank Michael Kleiman for helping us with our petition drives. He's donated quite a bit of money to helping us put marijuana legalization on the Oregon ballot. So I'd like to say thank you very much, Michael Klein. And thanks for putting out this book.
We're called the Arden Park Roots, if you guys forgot who we are. Come talk to us, we're really friendly fucking people. Every day we be pumping the sense of big time. Every day we be keeping it on the read, and we will love the herb. Comes straight from the earth like rain. Every day we be pumping the sense of big time. Every day we be keeping it on the real, and we will love the herb. Comes straight from the earth like rain. Conversion bomb, they get cloudy from the doors. No, 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 no. We know how to roll. Cause I'm back in the seat, back in the seat, back in the key, back in the key. That song gotta be gone. Song called Green and Gold. If you wanna know, like me. Riding dirty California, kid up Chico, then in the Siskiyou. You know to map and walking on the Portland with my safety crew. In Seattle, Tacoma, the aroma of the Urkel-colored purple bring a smile to a basic tube. Up in Bellingham, pulling out the bong again, but pack it to the brim. Patients finding herbal medicine, popping off the shoulder down the road. It's never does another thing, and not the city, never sure, but down the way have been. Every day we be pumping the sense of big out. Every day we be keeping it on the real, and we will love the herb. Comes straight from the earth like rain. Every day we be pumping the sense of big out. Every day we be keeping it on the real, and we will love the herb. Comes straight from the earth like rain. When I look back at all the crap we pulled back in Spokane, Washington, hits me in my mind, we just steamroll through two days again. East to Idaho, we're welcome in Missoula. Them boys ain't getting noisy in the state of your potato skin. All through Montana, the land of shiny mountains, so we blast the show in Billings. Off to South Dakota, it's Rapid City's quota. At the club is screaming fans and think about us on the planet just to keep it down. Down to see all the kids in on a weeknight. Drinking down the Southern Colorado, get them talking about nothing beats a view. Rips on the neck, I know the vibe. Photograph the town and sail down into the moon we fly. Arizona, Flagstaff, party cans. Scottsdale, can you hear me? I still have your polo cardigan. See us down in Phoenix, slanging records to them Zora kid. Then down to Tucson where them college kids blazing it. California, San Diego, where the ladies at. Ocean in Hermosa, yo, where we get invaded at. Off the slow we always go, get the party started. Then Sacktown, back in every club we play it at. Every day we be pumping and sense big out. Every day we be keeping it on the real, and we will love the earth. Come straight from the earth like rain. Every day we be pumping and sense big out. Every day we be keeping it on the real, and we will love the earth. Come straight from the earth like rain. All around the world, many faces, different places. With many getting plays, going through the different phases. Contagious when we be living it up, rocking it all night long. Jamie and the AP roots get you in the zone, coast to coast. Don't live a dog representing in your town. Guaranteed you love the weed mixed with the reggae sound. How it goes down, turn it up when you feel us. Got like to back and take a puff of the sense of big out. The sack in the boom in the blunt, to your rip and the candy's gone. Got whatever you want, but on the speakers in my drum. I got whatever it takes, cause that don't give me no break. I want you to know you did. I got choking good taste, light it up. Light it up, we light it up, we light it up, we no, 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 that light it up, we light it up, we light it up, light it up, we no, 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 that we light it up, we light it up, we light it up, we no 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 that herb.
Hi, welcome to Top Line. I'm Olivier Knox with Yahoo News. Joining me is Jeff Zeleny of ABC News. And our guests today are two members of Congress who are talking about pot legalization. Congressman Jared Polis of Colorado, Earl Blumenauer of Oregon. Welcome to the program.
Great to be here.
So let's start off sort of easily here. What is it that you guys are trying to do?
I think it's safe to say we're trying to rationalize federal drug policy. For years, the federal government has sort of been behind the curve as states have moved ahead. States moved ahead with decriminalization, with medical marijuana, and now Colorado and Washington with legalization. We're spending too much money on enforcement for something that most Americans think should be legal, and we're losing revenue. And we're going to create a federal train wreck if we don't fix it.
Colorado voters and Washington voters agreed, as do I, that the proper policy with regard to marijuana should be to regulate it rather than ban it. So look at it like other unhealthy controlled substances. Alcohol isn't good for you, tobacco is not good for you, marijuana is not good for you. But fundamentally, there's personal freedom and personal responsibility in this country.
What about the law enforcement argument or the parental argument that says, look, this is a gateway drug perhaps. You legalize marijuana, what's next?
Talk about gateway drugs. Let's look at tobacco. This is actually a red herring. Right now, I have not been in any community where people think that junior high students can't get marijuana right now. If we legalize and regulate and we concentrate our energies on a policy that makes sense, we end the hypocrisy and we focus on making sure that it's not in the hands of kids.
The corner drug dealer doesn't care if they're selling to a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old, but when you have a legal regulated business, the liquor store is an example, they're held accountable to the standards of the law and they will lose their license the minute they sell to someone under the age of 21.
So legalizing marijuana or making it possible to legalize marijuana and then taxing it at the federal level. Have you guys basically just found a way to make the deficit go up in smoke?
Well,
nice metaphor.
Suffice it to say that we are probably looking at $100 billion swing, moving away from billions of dollars spent in enforcement and incarceration and billions of dollars to be gained by actually taxing it.
Obviously, Republicans control the House of Representatives. Would you need a coalition of perhaps some libertarian thinkers to pass this?
Well, absolutely. In fact, Jared and I worked in previous Congresses with Barney Frank and Ron Paul, kind of a legislative odd couple. There are a number of Republicans who share this notion. First of all, it's states' rights. And there is a notion of personal freedom and the cost effectiveness.
One thing that's happened in the short time that I've been in Congress is you've seen a big shift on the Democratic side. What used to be a fringe position on the Democratic side has become very acceptable, very mainstream.
Yes! We've also got states like Colorado and Washington that have voted to legalize, and there are a number of Republicans that I think...
But those are two states, and Ron Paul's not here, so who's the new Ron Paul?
Well, I would also point out...
Is there a new Ron Paul?
Well, there's a number of libertarian Republicans in the House. There is a small libertarian core on that side that is at least open to this discussion.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us on Top Line. I'm Olivier Knox of Yahoo News, at @OKnox on Twitter. My co-host, Jeff Zeleny, at Jeff Zeleny. And our guests, Congressman Blumenauer, at Rep. Blumenauer, and Congressman Polis, at Jared Polis. Thanks for watching.
This is Mr. Henry Ford in 1941 with Popular Mechanics magazine showing off his car made from hemp.
Come see what we can see. Come climb the mountain with me, and then we will all be free. Some men are born to lead, some men
have destiny. Some men plant the seed, and some men set it free.
Here we had 92,000 cars a day, thousands of people parking behind the FBI building, and they arrested us and they said, you cannot do this. I said, well, I'm not going to pay you a fine and go on probation. So I did 15 days in prison rather than give them a $5 fine.
Wow, that's kind of like telling Jesus you can't practice on Sunday.
It was a fine line. So come climb the mountain with me. Come see what we can see. Come climb the mountain with me, and then we will all be free.
Jack here and Ed Adair. Well, hi guys. They must be on the hemp tour. Are you on the hemp tour?
One man said we must hear. One man's voice was clear. One man heard the call. His vision speaks for all.
The #1 plant for paper, fiber, and fuel from the natural cycle had been outlawed. That somehow the synthetic cycle had won, when the #1 thing in the natural cycle could outproduce it and completely clean up the atmosphere. So my partner, Captain Ed, who had become my partner in 1973 and doing the politics of this, said we have to teach everybody in the world. So we went around and told everybody. Yeah. But it was a slow process.
So come open your eyes with me and come see what you can see. It's time for the world to know the emperor wears no clothes. Come open your eyes with me. It's time for you to see. It's time for the world to know the emperor wears no clothes. It's time for the world to know the emperor wears no clothes. The emperor wears no clothes. The emperor wears no clothes. The emperor wears no clothes.
Now this is the whole reason marijuana is illegal. Yep. This is hemp seed oil with a hemp wick. And it is an illuminant. Hemp was an original illuminant before they used whale oil, before they were using petroleum. Hemp seed oil was one of the first illuminants used by humanity to light the first lamps. And this is the whole reason it's illegal, because you can pour this hemp oil right into any diesel engine, turn the key, and drive it. Hemp oil produces 3 times more seed oil than any other plant on the planet. It also produces 3 times more fiber. And here's some hemp twine. This is produced in China. Hemp twine from China. So the main reason marijuana is illegal is because of hemp oil and hemp fiber. And marijuana laws were created to stop the oil companies from competing with hemp fiber, with the introduction of new machinery that made hemp fuel and fiber much less expensive and much less expensive to process. Much as the cotton gin had made cotton much cheaper to process 100 years before. This new machinery, the decorticator, had made hemp fiber much cheaper. So the fuel and fiber companies put together a misinformation campaign we know as Reefer Madness and came up with this name marijuana based on racist lies, as the name marijuana proves. I mean, it's based on anti-Hispanic and people of color racist propaganda that was prevalent in the 20s and 30s. And so here is the whole reason that marijuana is illegal. It has nothing to do with drugs. Drugs are a smokescreen. It's really about fuel and fiber. Exactly. And there's we're going to do this every week, folks.
Well, and what
I just love the hemp candle idea. So this is our flame of freedom that we're going to be talking about each and every show.
Think about hemp, industrial hemp. See, I think that the medical marijuana movement will get a lot further if they will reach out and help explain the realities of hemp, the larger issue of hemp. Hemp, medical marijuana. Hemp helps everybody. Hemp helps the earth. Hemp is earth medicine. And I don't see enough awareness being given to hemp as hemp. We're too busy using the medical marijuana for our own enjoyment and to help heal the pain and these different things. But we're ignoring hemp. Hemp will help the planet. Practical reality, if we're going to talk about medicine, all right, we're talking about medical marijuana as medicine for the people. But hemp is medicine for the earth. And if we forget the earth, then we're only going halfway there. Anyway, that's just some attitude. Hemp. Industrial hemp. can build your home out of it. You can make your clothes out of it. And hemp, the CBDs in hemp, all right, are a larger they serve a larger medicinal purpose for the human body than even the THC does. And people need to kind of look at this. Because we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about epilepsy, we're talking about cancer. It's very effective against breast cancer. All right, we're talking about a real deal here, but nobody's paying any attention to it. All the attention is being put to the THC aspect, and I think it's time to recognize the entire plant. For the earth, for us.
Time to get yourself up on this here one wavelength and let your heart do the pay. I mean, we're speaking for our freedom, so hey, what the, anyway? Say, throw me a spliff. Yes, I'd love to have a whiff. Whisk me up a bud so I can rub this a dub. Up a dupe, we'll be rocking in a deep, deep groove, but y'all just roll it.
Folks, thanks for watching. You can find out more about our petitions and our clinics to help medical marijuana patients all across the country. Coming up, we'll be back in Michigan in next month, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching and help us restore hemp. And here's John Cornett and Malachi. Thank you, gentlemen.